grandparents on their farm in Minot City, Michigan. Mama Babushka, my grandmother, knew lots of things.
She knew just how to tell a good story. She knew how to bake the best chocolate cake in Michigan. After she told my brother I made a grand tale from her homeland, we'd always ask,
Bobby, is that true?
She'd answer,
Of course it's true. But it may not have happened.
then she'd laugh.
now I knew that she loved me, all right. But I couldn't quite understand how she could even like my older brother Richard.
He had orange hair that was like wire. It was covered in freckles and looked like a weasel in glasses.
The one thing that my buddy didn't seem to know was how perfectly awful my brother really was.
Mind you, he always says, always nice whenever she was around us, but as soon as she'd leave, he would do something terrible to me and laugh.
There were so many things that I couldn't stand about him. The worst was that he was always telling me he could do just about everything better than I.
But I can pick more blackberries than you can.
He jeered at me one day.
No, you can't.
Can't so.
Cannot.
Can.
He whispered.
Not.
I said louder.
He whispered so loud that I could hardly hear him.
Not.
I screamed back.
We both picked berries for most of the afternoon. Well, he upped it and did it. He not only picked more berries than I, he set a record that wasn't even challenged for the next 10 years. I can't stand you, Richard Barber.
I yelled at him.
Then he smiled that smile that only a rotten red-headed older brother could smile.
I guess I would have to face it. You could run fastest, climb the highest, throw the farthest, get the dirtiest, burp the loudest, and spit the farthest. He had no equal, certainly not me.
And I'm 4 years older than you. Always happy and always will be.
He sneered.
There had to be something I could do that he couldn't. Then inspired thought covered me like a fresh breeze on a hot summer day.
Oh, Richie! I cooed as I stood next to the rubber bushes. Do you like rhubarb?
No.
He said he.
It's the sorest stuff on this planet.
Now I knew at long last that I had him. Bet I can eat more of this raw rhubarb than you can without getting the puckers. I challenged.
I don't think so.
I do! I insisted.
Don't.
He hissed looking smart.
Do! I said furiously and grabbed the first stalk and started chewing it almost down to the leaf.
When it couldn't get one more sour bite into my mouth, it was still eating with relish.
I thought you said you don't like rhubarb, I said through pursed lips.
I don't like it. I love it.
He announced as he popped the last stalk into his mouth.
I was so mad I couldn't even feel how my belly was starting to ache. I can't stand you, Richard Barber! I double dog can't stand you!
I screamed as I went into the house to be consoled by my grandmother.
Yeah, and I'm 4 years older than you. You too, you little twerp. Always have been and always will be.
He called after me, then he laughed. That rotten red-headed older brother laughed.
That night at dinner, I could hardly.
Have you been eating angry apples again, child? Bobby asked as she sliced me. I picked a favorite. Which of rubber pie?
Richard gave me one of his extra rotten piece-of-pie, goosey, greeny-toothed ribbons.
At bedtime, my Bobby kid sat on my edge of my bed, like she did every night.
She said,
We watched it sack across the sky, and she voiced between her fingers and gave her chest a loud slap. Why'd you do that, Bobby?
I asked.
I was making a wish. Didn't you know that wishes on golden star come true? At last I knew how I was going to get back at my brother. For the longest time, I watched the dark sky until I saw a star shoot across the night.
Then I spit between my 2 fingers and slapped my chest. It was done. Most was to do something, anything better than my brother. I'd show him.
The next morning, all I could think about was my wish. I was thinking about it so hard, I almost didn't notice the wagons and trucks pulling into the field down the road near 4 corners. A traveling carnival!
My brother shouted as he ran towards me.
They're sitting up right here in our field. Then I can eat more hot dogs than you can.
He teased.
He was already starting it, but this time I was going to do something so incredible that even he would have to sit up and take notice. I had a star wish. I'd show my bright red-headed older brother all right.
Then I ran straight for a merry-go-round.
We must have taken 50 turns on that carousel, but then my brother got off. I stayed on. I went around and around and around.
I knew I could do this longer than you could.
I shouted to my brother, feeling proud, for just a bit of this.
Trisha!
I had my bubby call out.
Get off of that thing, it's time to go home.
The last thing I remember was stepping off the platform. Next thing I knew, there were couples Bobby sitting on the edge of my bed. Mom and Grandpa were there too.
I don't know what we would have done with that.
Said my Bobby.
Your brother carried you all the way home, and then he had to run to get up to Lee. You had stitches. I watched it all.
He said excitedly.
You fell off the merry-go-round right into some hot water.
My grandpa added.
You even passed out.
My brother shared.
Looks like you finally did something special.
It was from that exact moment that our relationship changed somehow. Thanks, Richie.
I said to him.
What's a big brother for anyway?
He said, blushing.
That night we were all in the yard. On hot Michigan nights, it was the family's custom to sleep outside where it was cool.
Look at those stars.
Bobby said quietly. Wishes are funny, aren't they?
I said.
Sometimes they come true differently than you think they will.
And that's why you have to be very careful what you wish for. It just may come true.
Bobby said.
Then she squeezed both of our hands.
I'm going to the grass.
She whispered.
Why, Bob?
My brother asked.
Because if we don't, we might float up to the storm.
Then she leaned over and kissed us both 3 times.
I kiss your eyes and I hope both of you hearts in my keeping. And this night I take oath that I walk this earth with both of you. Amen.
Then we all just lay on our blankets in gentle summer night.
I'll always be 4 years older than you though.
My brother whispered softly.
Then he smiled. All of us held one another's hands, and then we all drifted off to sleep.